293, we are going to do today a breakdown of my thoughts that I have recorded during an ayahuasca diet. Meaning, unlike other places where usually a retreat is being offered, that was a period of initially planned 6 months of taking that medicine between 3 and 4 times a week, but it ended up being actually just 3 months, because I decided after 3 months of that, 2.5 months, 10 weeks of that, that I was lacking sleep, and it was more emotionally and mentally challenging than I thought it would be. And I also realized that I had gotten the intensity and the depth that I needed of that, and I was just getting very out of balance generally by not sleeping enough, and I was hallucinating and many things. So I realized that the upwards trend of why I wanted to do that has come to an end, and a downward trend, a downward spiral was starting, which I wanted to prevent. Okay, well, so with that, let's go and take a look at the notes. Book number 2, no expectations are ever valid. It is always a mind-made association that things should happen this way. Certainty is possible without expectation. The intuition is the voice of the one being registered in consciousness. Thoughts are the voice of past conditioning being registered in consciousness. My conditioning having attached love and approval to success and doing well. In this way, when I have the sense of having fucked up, in case of overeating, etc., I feel my perceived lowered self-worth. Thus, the craving for success, because success equals approval and approval of love. Yes, this is very interesting. Oftentimes when we do behaviors, or behaviors seem to happen to us that we feel that we have no control over, we tend to crave the very opposite, because motivation often, all the time, oftentimes, most of the times, almost every time comes from deprivation. That means when I feel I have a lack of something and I have the need of something, that I am then more prone towards actually compensating that with the other polarity, with the other extreme, which is going to be then success, rather than feeling out of control. And here, in the same way as people who tended or used to feel out of control a lot, or being dominated, being violated even, tend to have the craving for control or for influence and power as an overcompensation of that wound that speaks of being not in power and not in control. Okay, I see that my striving for perfection is conditioning, and conditioning is neutral. It is not a personal fault. Before, I thought that the extra demand of an entrepreneurial endeavor will stress me out even more. But the truth is that it will provide an environment where I can truly rest and all my needs are met. There is no other option. This is my number one priority. Fear of loss and clinging to the permanent used to be forces in my psyche. Wanting an easy relationship because I feel that life itself is hard enough to handle. Yeah, oftentimes we get that, right? Where we don't want extra stress, extra burden, even extra responsibility. When we feel like we don't have the things in our nearest circle, our nutrition, our bodily functions, our sleep, whatever, our emotions, our thoughts, not under control on this basic level, where we feel like things are not the way that we want them to have, that we want to have them. We tend to lose our thoughts, like I just do. That's fine. Okay, so fear of losing the girl, fear of somebody taking her from me. Not being in the stability of permanent love. I need to see that the dance in this uncertainty is the juice in this relationship. I fear that I would hurt her in frustration or anger. I fear that a relationship would not make me happy as well. I fear the despair that comes from having it and still be unfulfilled, because I feel I run out of options in terms of what to try. I realize that overeating makes me feel I'm not in control of my life and myself. This is a quality of weak men, which makes me feel not being good enough to attract quality woman. That is what stresses me out. The loss of attractiveness, and in that the loss of potential love, rather than the habit itself. Many people who overeat have given up at some point because the pain and frustration of changing or trying to change is more painful than the outlook of making the successful change happen. All false friends and bad acquaintances you've encountered can be learned from. As soon as we find value in it, we can accept and let go of it. They all mirrored a part of myself that I thought I wanted to express more. They were either like myself or like I wanted to be. Everybody reads love best in the language that it was originally shown by their parent. What were my rules for feeling loved? When we don't feel love, there is often a discrepancy between the language our parents used to show love and our rules of what it meant to be loved. If we want somebody to know that he or she is loved, we need to show it in the way that meets their rules. Grace is the active agent in any transformation. Oh, that's good. Not playing full out is often due to the despondency that would come from having given our all and still not succeeded. We need to allow ourselves to make mistakes. Nothing can be more fulfilling than the right thing at the right time without feeling bad about doing it. That is without mind interference, with full yes to what the moment requires. This leads the way to spiritual realization in which deep peace and fulfillment is found. What Ramana Maharshi, Eckhart Tolle, and other teachers have talked about. Self-knowledge means bringing to light association patterns that are formed in the mind. It does not mean to find why explanations. Die Mutter eines Kindes steht sinnbildlich für das Leben und der Vater für die eigenen Fähigkeiten. Somit lernt das Kind von der Mutter Vertrauen in das Leben, vom Vater Anerkennung, Zuspruch und Vertrauen in die eigenen Fähigkeiten. Yes, this is good. This is really good kind of content. Spirituality means to live a life in freedom, by being able to distinguish the real from the unreal, the imagined, that which is being made up by the mind. We learn to distinguish that in extended periods of mental silence, because then the transient disappear and we experience that which stays. When the mind disappears, the nothing stays, the nothingness. The object of the so-called real world, the world of form, have as little reality value as the thoughts in my head. But that doesn't mean that they are not there. They have the power to affect me, as the car can overrun me, or thoughts can control my behavior, but they are nothing but energy affecting myself as energy. They are as unreal as I am. The evolution of the mental world goes much quicker than that of the physical world. In the evolution of new animal species, it takes millions of years to get into balance and then win the totality of the system or of the planet. It takes time to figure out lifespan, how many eggs to lay, of calves to breed, depending on the number of predators, dangers of everyday life, and so on. Some species that were in imbalance may have died out in the process of integration in the system of the totality. But right now, every animal species is at its right spot in balance with the whole, because only species that are one with life, that is, in the totality of the system, can eventually survive. Our mental entity called ego can be seen as also as a new species. Only that the time to evolve is much quicker. For an animal to breed from one generation to another takes days, for some insects up to months for mammals, and 2 years for elephants. For a thought to connect with another thought, to be inseminated, befruchtet, and in that breeding a new thought, it takes seconds. This is how learning works. One idea, one thought connects to a thought or idea that is already understood, or a third one that is formed. In the same way as two adult mammals come together and form one or multiple third entities. We see it in the world of science and IT. Hello, brother.
Hey, brother, what up, man?
All good. Just doing some content. Man, today was a good gen for lead gen.
I was just seeing if you wanted to meet up a little earlier, because it's going to be a little bit busy in the afternoon. I got to do
Absolutely. Do you want me to come over, or do you want to come by here? What do you think?
Yeah, I'll come by. I'm pretty close by, if that's all right. I'm cruising, so kind of bored, but...
Yeah, absolutely. Come by over right now if you want. Sure.
unless you're busy, are you sure?
No, I'm just doing some content, man. Come over. All good. All easy.
I'll head over in a few. Okay.
Yeah. Perfect. See you. Peace.
I'll see you there. Bye.